What's up, everybody? We're live here over at the Business Temple podcast. This is your co-host, Super Alex.
And your co-host, Super Ray. Welcome, one and all to the Business Temple. I'm super excited for today's topic. Super Alex in the house, Super
What's up,
Ray
Ray?
in your corner. How you doing, my brother? How's
All
everything?
good.
How's life?
All good. The week has been pretty crazy. I've been hustling all week, bro. I have not had enough sleep. Oh my gosh. I am looking forward to getting hyped up for sleep after this episode today, my friend. However, all that being said, you know how it is. Always positive, always optimistic, and always just trying to work through the mindset over the weekend. And that's why we're on TBT, because we're setting your weekend right consistently.
It's
9 a.m.
Memorial Day
PT,
weekend.
12 p.m. ET. And yes, it is Memorial Day weekend as well. So long day weekend for a lot of people.
Yeah, a lot of people not working, a lot of people taking the nice relaxing vacation out there having barbecues, doing what they do, and we're here doing the Business Temple because you know what? Business never sleep. You shouldn't sleep while others are sleeping. There are people out there just making money, and I think you should be too.
Absolutely. We got to stay consistent for everybody. We made a commitment, and so not only is it a commitment to ourselves and our show, but for everybody who's watching, who will be watching in the future, we will always go up on Saturdays, and we go on some of the weirdest moments too. You know what I mean? Like, remember that time we went on Coachella? That was crazy. That morning,
that's a weird.
That
moment.
morning was crazy.
I think the number one key for any business owner out there, and before we get into the topic that we're speaking for today, is to remain consistent. Just keep grinding, keep pushing, keep going through the moments, keep going through the ups and downs. Because when you think about it, you don't run before you walk. You don't walk before you crawl. You got to take time to practice your craft, continuously work on it, be consistent. No matter how fast or slow you get there, eventually you're going to get there one step at a time, my friends, one step at a time.
I love that. Yeah. I love that, man. Yeah, little motivation boost in the morning from Super Ray over there. So, you know, I'm so excited for this topic as well, Ray, because I've just got so many examples, so many stories for it. I've been trying to curate my notes for this topic, but there's just so much things to talk about. And what I'm going to do now is just really kind of make it a funny thing, because it's such a heavy topic. You know what I mean? Or such a serious topic, rather, not a heavy topic. And I want to add some humor into it. And so a lot of my stories will have exactly that. And shall we play them in a little bit and talk about the topic? There we go. There we go. What's up, everybody? Woo. There we go. Hyping y'all up. Make sure to follow us on Instagram. Subscribe to our YouTube. Smash that like button. Oh my gosh. Smash that like button. Smash that bell button. Get all the notifications that you need every single weekend here at the Business Temple, where we talk about the union of ancient philosophy and modern business. There we go. I think it's ready to talk about our topic, my friend. We are going to talk about how to negate Murphy's Law. Now, this might be a little weird.
Negate Murphy's Law.
But the thing is, well, I was doing a lot of research on this, and Murphy's Law isn't scientifically proven. It's not scientifically proven. We're in
it's anything not based on facts, it's not based on science.
Exactly. So we're here to teach you how to beat this. They say the law. So let's get into that.
You know. Yeah, let's get into it. Started from all the way from the beginning. And when I was doing the research and then I saw this notion, because I like to start all the way from the beginning. You know how we do here. We marry philosophy and business. So when you think about philosophy, you think about the elders, the people that brought wisdoms, the people that have taught us in the ways that things are today in our modern day, things that can be applied then can also be applied now. And Murphy's Law is one of those things that has been around for quite some time. I didn't know this, but it
Yes.
it was coined by this person named Edward A. Murphy, a project
Uh-huh.
test engineer for the U.S. Air Force in 1949. And the reason he coined it, he said, Murphy's Law is that there are two or three ways of doing it, and one of those ways will lead to a tragedy. And of course, and then it says a disaster will strike at the worst possible moment. And I found that really interesting that an engineer was the one that kind of coined this term, and that's where it comes from Edward Murphy, a, a project test engineer for the U.S. Air Force.
Gotcha. Well, always love your history lessons when it comes to this, Ray. Where the philosophy originates from, where the the adage, the quote originates from. I really, really dig that. And yes, you are right. It's Edward A. Murphy Jr. And it's just I don't need. So anything that can go wrong will go wrong. What do you even think about
Yes.
that? Like, where's your head at when you
Well,
hear that?
I apply this to a lot of things, and then honestly, mostly what you'll notice is that pessimistic people love this rule. That
Right.
people
Yeah.
that are very much into like the details, that are very uh, in tune, engineers, things like that. People that are working in fields that require a high degree of skill and detail orientation, and this is when catastrophe strikes at the worst possible moment, because there are ways to negate it, and we'll talk about that, but there's more ways than one to do something wrong, and there's really only one way to do it right. And but you really have to try different things in order to get it right. And now, if let's say you're conducting an experiment, how many
Mhm.
tries does it take? As an entrepreneur, this is kind of like an experiment. How many tries does it take? How many businesses
I
does it
love
take in order to get it right? And you can apply Murphy's law in that direction. With as an entrepreneur, you can make sure you could do a lot of things, make a bunch of mistakes. One of my favorite quotes is never make the same mistake twice. You got to learn from them. But
Mhm.
at the same time, what can go wrong will go wrong. And I mean, I subscribe to it. I'm a big fan of this law. And how about yourself, Alex? How do you view this law, and how do you utilize it? What do you think about it?
So whenever I think about Murphy's Law, it's like you ever, for example, when you need a pen,
Hmm.
you can't find it anywhere. When you don't need a pen, you find it in your pocket, you find it in your table, you find it in all sorts of places where it shouldn't be. And I feel like that's one of the big things I deal with when it comes to Murphy's Law. Or for example, I'm working on a
Mm.
computer and it's malfunctioning all the time, and finally I decide to talk to IT about it, and then suddenly it works. You know what
How
I
many people have been there?
yeah,
How
I
many
think
people have been
Murphy's
there?
Law kind of like fucks with you in a way.
Yeah.
I think it's God's sense of humor, Murphy's Law. And it's like it it can go two ways too, because the way you just described Murphy's Law, I've never heard it described in a motivational way. Really, your tone was so uplifting, bro. It's
Yeah.
like, wow, man, it doesn't even sound bad. But I do agree that pessimists love it. You know what I mean? But it's like saying, in a pessimistic way, it's like saying, damn, there's always something. When you're
Yes.
having a bad day, and then you have layers and layers and layers of shit happening in your day
Yeah.
piling up. There's always something. But then at the
Mhm.
same time, there's a flip to it too. Like, for example, when you say, wow, there's always something, always something to
Yes.
look forward to, always another challenge to, or another hurdle to beat. You know what I mean? And it's just a way where Murphy's Law is either going to shift your perspective or kind of mess it up even more. And so we've got to
That's
be
true.
very, very mindful of anything that can go wrong will go wrong, because I think it really starts in the mental state, in the psychological state, wherein
Mm.
you taken that law, and if you're beaten by it psychologically, then everything that you're going to do after that is going to be difficult.
I see,
That's the way
Alex. So
I see it.
you're taking the notion and using this as in, oh, you've kind of already lost by telling yourself this is gonna happen or what's gonna go wrong before you even have a chance to think about what's gonna go right. Wow, I get it. I get it, Alex. And that's how it can really be a detriment to people that are always thinking about, okay, this can go wrong, this can go wrong, this can go wrong. There's something bad about that as well. Now that I think about it, wow, I it kind of also prevents you from even trying something because you already create
Oh
this
yeah,
preconceived notion that it's
definitely.
gonna go wrong. So if I do it this way, it's gonna go wrong. And even if you haven't even tried it, you already kind of know. So you prevent yourself from trying, or and also prevent yourself from creating something new or creating something different, or because the way I see it sometimes as well is that if there's an innovative way of doing it, you won't discover it by just copying somebody and taking pieces and things and replicating it the same way. The process might change a little bit, but if you think about everything is just going to go wrong, then you never try anything. I that's very interesting and profound.
Yeah, it's a psychological barrier. You know,
Hmm.
that's why I did mention earlier that it starts here. You know, that God sense of humor. I love that. It starts in your head first, and if you let it get to your head, then automatically it's over.
Wow.
You
Mm.
know, so it's you just, like I said, you got to be mindful, and that's what we here over at the Business Temple for, trying to help all the entrepreneurs out there to be more mindful about this law. And for some who don't even know it, it does exist, and people really do subscribe to it. In People use it in productive ways. For example,
Mm.
if you're creating a sales plan, you're creating a marketing plan, a business plan, and you come in there with a Murphy's Law mindset, not in a particularly pessimistic way, but what about if you come in there with a Murphy's Law mindset in an analytical way? Okay, let me find all the holes in my business model, all the holes in my marketing plan, sales strategy, and all of that, and what are the worst parts of it, and what can I do to fix it before I even, launch my product or begin my marketing campaign or anything like that. So I feel like there's a healthy way to use Murphy's Law if you're just mindful as an entrepreneur on what exactly that law is, how it affects you, and how you could just like flip the switch in your mind to, instead of using this thing as, kind of like a pessimistic thing, you could use it as something that condones strategy, and something that will give you results, really.
Mm. Oof.
It's just
It,
flipping the script.
it does. And then, Alex, I'll let you take charge here. How do you negate Murphy's Law? How do you combat those thoughts, those barriers with caution, as you say, where you are aware of it, that you understand that there's things in place and there's tons of way to make mistakes. One way to do it right, or several, actually there's several ways, might be several ways of doing it right, but one way that leads to the path of least resistance and success, I would say that. But yeah, tell us, how do we negate it?
So this is gonna sound weird, but I'm in love with making mistakes.
Hmm.
That's that's just it. I have a good relationship with failure. Very, very good relationship. I don't let it debilitate me. I don't let it paralyze me. And so I know for a fact that something can go wrong. I know for a fact that if there are these many things that can go wrong, there will be X amount of things that will go wrong with it. And that's on me, and that's on me for not covering that base. That's on me for not preparing enough, or that's on me for not being able to foresee that particular thing that I was going to deal with. And that's absolutely okay, because each of these things that that went wrong is something that I could learn from, as long as those things that go wrong are not fatal mistakes.
Yeah, catastrophic mistakes. Yeah.
Yes, of
Mhm.
course. Which is so funny because as I was researching Murphy's Law, I came up, or Google came up with the British counterpart, so to say,
Mm.
and it's called Sod's Law.
Sod's law.
Yeah, and I'm gonna quickly just like read the definition, and it's so funny, right? You poor sod. Sod's law. So, so Sod's law is British culture axiom states that if something can go wrong, it will, but it will go wrong at the worst possible time in the worst possible way. So imagine that. Freaking British
Oh.
culture axioms. So anything that can go wrong will go wrong, but in the worst possible way. That's Sod's law. So there's actually something even worse than Murphy's law, and forget about that. All right, so let's put that on screen right there. There it is. Thank you, Super Ray,
Yeah.
for adding that there. Right, and then going back to what I was saying, it's just I have a great relationship with failure, and also I accept my mistakes and I take accountability for them. And there's one thing that I want to connect as well, what we talked about in our last episode, wabi sabi, embracing imperfection. If
Mhm.
y'all haven't seen that yet, head over to our YouTube channel, The Business Temple. It's called Embrace, or Wabi Sabi, Embracing Imperfection. And to me, that's
Mhm.
just one way, one state of mind that puts me in a position where I can completely just negate Murphy's law, because I don't, as an entrepreneur, I don't need to be perfect. I need to be agile. I don't need to be perfect. I need to be precise. I don't need perfect. I need progress. So all these things that went wrong or can go wrong, that's still progress. You know, it might not be a huge
Mm.
percentage of progress, but I'm still learning. I'm still moving forward. I'm still executing. The reason why things can go wrong is because I'm doing something about it. Like, does that make
Mm.
sense?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yes.
the
And
reason
and
why
then,
shit happens is because I'm doing something.
yeah, and if you're not doing anything and you're remaining stagnant, then
Shit happens
that's
anyway. So you might as well do something, man. You know?
oh my god.
But
My
that,
my favorite quote, aside from like Sod's law and Murphy's law,
mhm.
is everybody has a plan until you get punched in the face by Mike Tyson.
Mike
One of my
Tyson. Yep.
favorite quotes of all time, and I think that is true. You can plan and plan and plan, but
Uh-huh.
one misstep can just knock you on your ass, and you'll have to struggle to get back up. But at least you get back up. What happens when a mistake occurs and you just give up? That's when you've failed. That's when you've truly failed. And I think that addition to Murphy's law, that what can go wrong will go wrong, but don't let it deter you from achieving your goals. It should be appended to the end of it.
I love
And
that.
I really encourage entrepreneurs to experiment, to test new things, and to explore outside of their comfort zone. And that's where I also think about Murphy's Law. Where is the where does the start and stop happen? When, let's say, this is my comfort zone, I'm familiar with this space, I know what to do to make it go right. And if you don't do everything you can, set up processes, set up a checklist to make sure that it happens in that particular way every single time, so you can remain consistent. That
Mhm.
is a key to success as well. But if you're exploring new territory, now you're recreating this process, you're recreating the way that you're doing things. So I think if you want less things to go wrong, document your process, write things down, make sure that you put
I love
your
that.
ideas on paper so that you can problem solve every single scenario instead of having to think of them inside your head. I think having pen and paper, putting the plan into action, even though you might get punched in the face, you still
Hmm.
have a plan, you still have a process, you still have documentation and how it's done, because then you can also go back and find the misstep, find where things went wrong. If you don't have that, you won't even know what went wrong and you can't learn from it. So I think it's part of it is understanding what you're good at, being skillful at it, having that standardization. So if let's say you get sick, someone can copy it, replicate it, the business can pass on, whatever it can be. And if you're exploring new territory, document that process, write everything down. If you need a problem solved, also write it down, because it's easier to work out problems on paper than it is to do it in your head. So much anxiety going on in there.
Man, that you dropping value bombs over here, Super Ray. That's what's up. I dig that. I dig that, man. Anything that can go wrong will go wrong, but don't let it deter you.
Yeah.
Oh man, that but part. Oh, I feel like I just went to church, bro. We're going to church right now. We're in church. That was amazing. I would also add, ladies and gentlemen, people of the world. I would also add, it's very so we're on the topic of negating Murphy's law. It's very important to have the mental and emotional bandwidth. Obviously, if the moment you wake up, you're already a cranky motherfucker. You know, you're not doing the right thing to set your moment, your morning right. Obviously, you're probably gonna have a bad day after that. You know, if you do not have the mental capacity, if you're easily annoyed at the moment, if everything is an irritation to you, definitely whenever something, even the little things go wrong, you will feel it. So actually working on well-being helps negate helps negate Murphy's law. So if you're extremely happy at the moment, and say you're coming home from work and you're entering the subway and there's just so many people, and you know it's just a crazy time, it's rush hour, but you know before you left work you just got the promotion that you've been aiming for years, you got the recognition and you got to know the right people, and it was just a great day at work. Guarantee you would probably not mind whatever is going on in that subway. Because at that moment you're experiencing happiness, you're experiencing satisfaction, you're experiencing ambition. But say if you flip the script around and you were like, hey, I woke up a crazy person today, hated my day at work today, and when you get to the subway, guess what's gonna happen? You're just gonna flip out. So I believe it's really working on. It's such a holistic thing. This negating Murphy's law. If you work on your inner self, if you work on your inner satisfaction, inner desires, inner happiness, the more you work on that, and the more you know how to brighten your mood whenever shit hits the fan or whenever these little things try to bother you, then you can always beat Murphy's law. I believe the good feelings, positivity, happiness, these things trump Murphy's law, because then you wouldn't even care. You know, it's just as simple as that. And I feel that all the time. You know, shit is happening around me all the time. Sometimes, you know, it can get inundating, it can get overwhelming, but because I'm mindful about being a generally happy, positive, optimistic individual. While these things go wrong, it doesn't totally bother me. Does that make sense?
I see. I love the fact that you brought up like mood and your emotion, and that's something that is rarely talked about, especially amongst guys and entrepreneurs. Like, oh, right. I got my emotions in check. I'm big time boss over here. But you're absolutely right.
How many people will say that? Got my emotions
big time boss of it.
That's a good one.
But the time that you were talking about that, like just waking up in a good mood and then starting your day, I 100% subscribe to that notion, where I think the way that you start your day is the way that the entire day is gonna end up being.
Yes,
and
exactly.
If the way I see it also too, it's like, imagine you're angry and you're going out. If you're looking for a fight, you're gonna find a fight.
That's right.
With mistakes is the same thing. If you're mistakes, you're gonna find mistakes. And this is where the complexity of Murphy laws happen, is when you're looking for mistakes, that's the only way that you'll uncover them, that you'll able to circumvent them. So if you're not looking for them, then how do you identify mistakes if you don't look for them? That's a question for you, Alex.
Well, it's like the pen story I was talking to you about earlier.
Mhm.
Whenever I don't need a pen, it's right here. Whenever I need it, it's nowhere to be fucking found. Always have that issue. But how I'm gonna answer that is, it's just going back to what I mentioned earlier. It you gotta be mindful about you just gotta be mindful about your feelings about it. Always be
Mhm.
mindful. And if you're not mindful, you're you're kind of like, you're kind of doing autopilot in your day, or say you do have a little plan, little bit of plans, but then, not really mindful about how your body feels, not really mindful about how the day is going, or what's going on around you, what's going on that's wrong around you, then that's going to be a difficult thing. So if you can find it within your day to set up your morning or set up your evening, whenever it is you wake up, to make an intention to be mindful for the rest of the day, no matter how many times you lose that pen. It 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 will bother you a couple of times, it will annoy you, but it wouldn't come to a point where you would lose your shit over it, where you would, or losing something or something going wrong would define your entire day. Because some people would be like, hey man, I've got a shitty morning, now I'm gonna have a shitty day. They just, some people will just let that eat them up the entire day. But my advice there is just learn how to chunk your days down. For example, if you go through some shit in the morning, that doesn't mean you're going to go through some shit in the afternoon or the evening. And that's how, at least that's how I work my
Hmm.
day. If I was super busy and super stressed in the morning, that doesn't mean that I'm going to be the same way for the rest of the day. I try to make something different happen in the afternoon, or after a crazy day at work. I'm going to get nice in the evening with super rest. You know what I mean? So it's just about that. It's just being being extremely mindful about the things that you do, extremely aware about the things happening around you, and then from there you could really negate it. Maybe not 100% of the time, but most of the time, like, okay, I know Murphy's Law is knocking on my door right now. I know Murphy's Law is fucking with me right now, sitting in the corner watching me as I mess up and do this thing over and over and over again. But you know what, I'm not gonna let that get to me. I'm not gonna let it. I'm not gonna
Yeah.
let Murphy make me give up.
No
That's, at least that's
discouraged.
how I talk to.
Yes.
That's my self dialogue when I think about Murphy's Law. I literally humanize Murphy's Law, and I'm gonna be like, "Bitch, I'm not gonna let you do this. Not today. Mm-mm. Nope." And so it's just I make it fun. You know what I mean? I just, like I said in the beginning of this episode, my stories are coming from a place of humor, from a place of laughter, because Murphy's Law is such a serious thing for some people. But I try to make it fun, because I know if I'm having fun, well, yeah, things are going wrong, but I know I'm gonna win at the end of the day, because I get the last laugh. Not you, Murphy. I do.
Mm.
That's where I'm at, man.
With it's it's so much fun to have with this topic, and I mean,
Hmm.
one thing I was just thinking about, it's like with entrepreneurs is also the ability to pivot. You spoke of, if you need a pen and it's not there and there's nowhere to find it. How can you pivot from that situation? Do you continue to look for it, or do you say, "Hey, let me write with a pencil. Hey, let me use another
Yep.
something else. Let me use another utility that is accessible to me. Let me go to my friend, borrow a pencil from a friend." Things like that. That's the kind of idea building and problem solving skills you need to have as an entrepreneur. If you don't have something, or if you had something that's gone, think about ways of how to attain something that's is equally as important as that particular item, or better. Who knows? And I think that's the best way of thinking about it too. It's not just like thinking about what you don't have, thinking about how you can attain or achieve the same results without the specific item that you are looking for.
Wow, bro. Murphy's Law as an approach to problem solving. I have not heard this shit. You're profound today, Super Ray.
Yeah,
That was
you gotta
really
like
good.
Saturday
Wow,
at 12. That's when I peak. That's when I peak. Yeah.
that's I was just blown by that. That you've shared some really relevant things for entrepreneurs, and thank you for that, Super Ray. So it's an honor to listen to you and hear your thoughts. I know
And you too,
as the
brother.
co-host,
You
you
too.
drop them value bombs. Always dropping them value bombs. When Ray dropped the value bombs, oh my gosh, y'all going to church. I swear, man, it's such a beautiful thing. And one of the highlights, of course, one of the highlights was what you just said. Murphy's Law as an approach to problem solving. Also, uh, if 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 you can find a way to be mindful about working on your mood whenever it is you wake up, I feel like that's the most important thing um, to work on at the moment you wake up. You know, try to get yourself in a good groove, good mood. You know what I mean? Because that will really set the tone. You know, and then whenever Murphy comes knocking at the door, you're in a good mood, you know, you let him in. Yeah, you really don't want to let him in, but it doesn't matter, you know, and you just feel good about it anyway. Nothing will phase you, nothing bothers you. And so just mood. I was surprised when I brought up the topic too, because that wasn't in my notes at all. I don't even know why I wrote down notes anyway. I'm completely you know what I mean? It's just something that I feel like uh, entrepreneurs really can work on as well, because we can get so busy. You know, we could just get lost in the workflow, and sometimes our moods can be foul. Our moods can be crazy. You know, and that's when really Murphy's Law try to sneak up on you. You know, so work on your mood, entrepreneurs. Work on your mood, and yeah, take it as a problem solving skill. I love that. Super Ray. That was good.
Yeah, Alex, you have been killing it. I mean, you've summed up Murphy's Law very well. I mean, for me, I kind of have this thought of like, I don't know. I think we're a little different on this one because I'm gonna combine my two favorite quotes here in a little bit. But like, if Murphy's Law comes knocking at your door, punch it in the face.
Punch him in the face.
Yes.
I'd like to adopt that quote. Murphy's Law come knocking in your door, punch him in the face. Yeah. Like, go out there, kick Murphy's ass. Why he always kicking our ass? Fight back. Damn, Ray, that's that's power. I like that, bro. I've never thought of it that way. Have never ever thought about that. Good laughs. I knew there was gonna be a funny episode at the moment I mentioned. Okay, I got some funny stories, but that's what it is. That's what it is, ladies and gentlemen, people of the world. It's just you gotta right now. See, my mood is brightening up right now. I love it that the first thing I got each Saturday morning is TBT. That's how I know my weekend is gonna be great. That's how I know like whatever happens, I can be good. And now I know that I could punch Murphy in the face too. So I'll keep that in mind. Damn. Thank you. That was amazing.
Absolutely, brother. Absolutely. Well, I guess we can conclude today's episode.
Yes,
let's go play him out. There we go.
All right. Woo! I love it. Thank you, Super Ray. Thank you, everybody watching and will be watching. This has been an episode of The Business Temple, where we marry ancient philosophy and modern business. Once again, I am your co-host, Super Alex.
Your co-host, Super Ray, telling you to have a nice day. Peace.
Peace.